When you are ready, you may begin.
Okay. Hi. I'm gonna get started because I have 40 minutes and I have a lot to go over. I have like 5 pages of notes. So I'm Kayla, for any of you that don't know me. I have been with our tribe since September. And this is my first Zoom, so thanks for being here. A couple of things just for like background on me personally. I am here on God's grace. My life's been full of a lot of surprises, some that I was ready for, some that I wasn't ready for, but turned into really, really beautiful blessings for me. A big thing that happened, and I'm going to kind of focus on the past couple of years of my life, my latest chapter, as I would refer to it, because that is kind of what got me into Thrive, and also what I think is the most relatable as I move into some of the things I want to talk about. So the biggest thing that I would say I've learned is that like I have no control over the circumstances of my life or things that happen to me, right? But I do have control over how I react to those things and the actions that I choose to do from those moments. A big thing that I personally am still actively working on is some shame that I have from a DUI that I got a couple of years ago. And I bring that up because while I can have so much immense gratitude for that happening and that moment in my life, I can look back on that and say, like, that's how I got sober. Like, that's how I was able to take a hard look at myself and say, like, this is not the direction I want my life to go in, and make a monumental change. But I know that shame still grows in the darkness. And what I mean by that is, every time that I choose to hide that fact, or every time that I choose not to talk about that, it sits there and it grows in the darkness, and it creates this boundary between my authentic self and who I am and my ability to shine my light and help somebody. And when I am able to talk about it and I'm able to be open and honest about it, like, I can feel my confidence growing. And that's because your confidence grows in the light. It grows in you telling your story. It grows in your authenticity and getting past your limiting beliefs. So a little bit about like limiting beliefs they reside in your subconscious, right? They reside in your ego, and your ego is your survival guide. And the reason I'm saying that is because like your subconscious is developed by the time you're 7. So a really, really good way to address your limiting beliefs is think about the home that you grew up in, the media that you consume, the friends that you had. Like, I grew up in a money doesn't grow on trees environment. So I have a disconnect with the relationship and a limiting belief on money and my ability to bring abundance into my life, because that was built into my subconscious. Like, that is something that you really have to do some digging into. And I hope that through this training, you're able to see, like, I'm going to go through a couple of phases, as I would call them, and realize where you are in your season. Like, if you're in a healing season, this can all apply too, and just take what you can. And, don't be afraid of the resources that are out there. Like, all of the notes that I got from a book, I got from a sermon, I got from, some stuff that you guys have said. Like, there are so many free resources, like just the abundance alone in that. Like, take advantage of that and see what you can do. Find the questions that can help you address those limiting beliefs. So the big ones are like, what were you told growing up in your childhood about yourself, about money, about success? What did those things mean to you? And then how do you want to reframe those? And what can you do to remind yourself, whether that's a power statement, whether that's an affirmation every morning, what can you do to change those limiting beliefs so that you can then address them as they come up, right? The first step is going to be hearing them when they come up and saying, nope, that's not what I want to believe. And then being able to address them. And if you have something that you want to replace that with, it'll be that much easier to address. A big theme I think I want everybody to take away today is like, you're going to tell your ego to take a back seat, right? To just shut the F up for a minute, because your ego, again, like, that is your survival guide. Your ego cannot see your vision. Your ego is not your higher self. Your ego is, oh, I don't know if you should make that purchase because money doesn't grow on trees, and no, you shouldn't invest in yourself like that. Don't do that. Don't do that. We can't do that. Or, you know, you can't do that because you have all this doubt or whatever, right? Your ego is trying to protect you. You just got to tell your ego, like, take a back seat. My higher self, my vision, the person that I want to be, like, I know what that looks like. And I got to trust in that right now. You got to get past your ego and just consciously address it as much as you can as it comes up. So something that I read recently, and I'm happy to like share all these resources with you guys, but it's called the pregnancy theory or principle actually. So I have never had a baby, but for me, it hit home because of my sobriety, which is also why I wanted to bring up my past earlier, because you can apply the same thing to your business. And what I mean by this is like, you are in a rebirth. Like you are in a moment of rebirth when you are starting a business. And I hope you acknowledge that. Like, yes, MLMs are everywhere and we see it all the time because everybody's taking advantage, but like, blinders on, baby. Like, you are starting a business. That is something to be proud of. That is something to acknowledge. And that is something to give yourself grace through. Like, you are in a moment of rebirth. So I got 4 things for you here. 1, you are building a new life. Just like when you are birthing a baby, just like me getting sober, like I had to take a look and say, I'm starting something new. And you know what? I got to have blinders on. I got to do what I got to do. And I just got to make it happen. Like that is who I wanted to be. And therefore, like, that is what I protected. Number 2, the new life you are building comes first, period. And what I mean by that is, like, early in my sobriety, I went to meetings every day for 30 days. I did not let anything get in the way of that because that is what I needed to do to get to where I wanted to be. And eventually it tapered off and I had meetings 3 times a week, but nothing interfered with that for my whole entire first year. All right. It's the same thing. Like, as a mom, when you're pregnant, if you don't want to be somewhere, you're not going to be there. Like, you are there to take care of your child and you don't doubt that instinct. Apply that to your business. Like, you know what you need to do. You got to trust your instinct and you got to be willing to say, sorry, I can't go out. You know what? I got to work on this instead. Or, hey, I need to get up early because I got to work on this or it's not going to get done, right? You have to commit to yourself. And if that means reframing in your mind that you're doing this for somebody else, or that your business is your new baby, or whatever that is, like, it doesn't have to be life or death, like sobriety can be or anything like that, but like, acknowledge and respect the process and what you are trying to build for yourself. And I think that is so hard as women. Like, we are so good at putting everybody else in front of us. So whether that means you need to block time, whether that means you need to say no to friends, going out, whatever that looks like you are making a conscious decision every time you say, I'm going to go do that instead of work on my business. And part of that's just on you, right? You want to work it like a hobby, work it like a hobby. Like, I'm not saying there's any right way to do it, but respect what you're trying to build and respect yourself enough to go after it. Number 3, anything or anyone that doesn't support the new life goes out the door. Doesn't matter. Sounds real harsh. But you know what? Like, again, with my sobriety, like, with being a mom, like, you're not going to be around someone who's going to be like, I don't know if you should have that kid, or I don't know what you're doing. Like, no one's going to stand for that. And early in my sobriety, right, I had to make that decision. Like, I had friends that I lost because, like, we were just drinking buddies or we were smoking buddies or whatever, right? Like, and while it hurts, like, you have to trust the process and trust that God is guiding you to something better, to better people, to your next level. And that happens with anything, right? Like, anytime you are leveling up, you start to realize that, like, maybe you don't fit in with your circle anymore. And this is so important, I think, from a rebirthing standpoint, because from a psychological standpoint, like, sorry, I have like multiple notebooks I'm looking at. Dropping any friends who aren't healthy for you, if you choose to keep them, know that your risks are self-sabotage and letting your ego run your life. And what I mean by that is, we as humans are built to fit in. We are built to believe that we have to fit in and swim with the fishes in school and And that's how we make our lives, and like we're not made to stand out. But that's not how it works. That's not, again, that's your survival guide, right? Like, tell your ego, take a back seat. I'm going to put in some work. I'm going to do what I need to do because my higher self has a vision. My higher self has a dream, and I know that this is what I need to do to get there. And that's okay. Like, it doesn't mean you're going to be alone. And if you are, like, maybe that's what you need, right? Maybe that's what you need at that moment. But at the end of the day, like, you didn't get started in this because you were okay with where you were. You didn't get started in this because you were just okay with how your life was going and you were good with all your friends and everything was just hunky-dory and you were like, yeah, I'm gonna start a business. Why not? We'll just see where it takes me. Like, no, you probably had like even the tiniest inkling, seedling of like, damn, this could change my life. But you have to let it. You have to let it. And that means taking the surprises of losing friends and gaining new ones and accepting that that's just your path. Number 4, nothing trumps the process. When it comes to a rebirth, right, you can take a literal birth, like a baby comes out in 9 months. You're not really going to change that. There's no human nature form to like, no, I'm going to make it happen in 3, or nah, I want to make it last till 12. Like 9 months is your general cycle, and you're not going to change that process. But with that, sobriety is different. Running a business is different. Like you, again, this just goes back to like, you have to give your business the respect that it deserves. You don't just go through the process of being pregnant and have a baby and everything is just good. Like, there's patience, there is a transition, there is learning, there is, again, just like respect and acknowledgement that you just created a life and now you have to figure out what that looks like in your new life. And that is a rebirth for you. That is a birth for your child. Like, everything comes together. But like, it's the same thing with your business. You're in this process and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I just do this and this is going to happen. And oh my gosh, I just do this. And you're so busy watching everybody with their own timelines. And you've got to understand that like, nothing is going to change this process. That timeline, not yours, out of your control, has nothing to do with you other than you showing up, you taking control of the actions that you can, you watching your attitude and being open to receiving the surprises that come your way and taking them in stride. Okay. Okay, I did that. So yes, biggest things, right? Hold yourself accountable. Figure out what you need to do. Again, if that's blocking time, if that's saying no to events, do what you need to do to get the results that you want, but also understand that there is only so much that is within your control. Trust the process and know that God is going to bring into your life exactly who is meant to be in your life and exactly who is meant to be there to grow your business or to help you grow as an individual, and respect that as well. You know, very, very early on in sobriety, like all I could focus on, at least with like having DUI in court and all of these things happening and still being at work, like I was literally just, things would happen and I'm like, you know what, I'm sober today. Take your wins where you can. Take your wins and turn them into miracles, and don't underestimate the power of that gratitude. I think, you know, I've been doing the magic lately, and like, you really gotta hone in on that gratitude and what it feels like. You gotta feel that like in your gut, and just know that like you are a miracle on your own. And whether that means every day that you make a brag list, whether that means that at the end of the day you say, wow, I did X, Y, and Z, and you literally list out all the shit that you did, because I know a lot of you are moms. Like, I'm single, I don't got a pet, like y'all are like superheroes to me. I don't really get it, but like, you're doing a lot of stuff and you need to acknowledge that. You need to brag about it, because every small piece that you are doing, every tiny interaction, everything you say to your kids, everything you tell your friends, everything you tell yourself, right, is a miracle within itself if you allow it to be. So you have to be able to acknowledge that and respect that and allow it to build you into the person that you want to become. You know, early on, I realized like I used to spend 12 hours in the office. I was a control freak. Like I felt like I need to do everyone's job for them. And early on in my sobriety, I let shit slip. I just let it slip. And I was like, you know what? I'm fucking sober. That's what I got today. Like that's my focus. And sometimes that's what it is in your business. Like you're like, you know what? I put a post up and that's what I got today. Like, but that's something, right? Hang on to that and like realize the rest of it will fall into place. I didn't get fired. I ended up getting promoted within like 3 months because I let go. That's the other thing. Like, let go of what is not in your control, and you will not understand the realm of peace of mind that will come to you, because you can simply say, you know what, God, you got this one. You got this. And that weight, that's off you. That's off you. Like there is only so much that you can do. There's a lot that you can do in your business, but if you genuinely believe and have faith in how things roll out, like God brings you your people. God brought you this business. Like there is a master plan, and all you can do is show up, put in the work and the steps that you can do, and the rest will work out. Don't try to control everything. Okay, one second. Yep. Okay. I think that's almost everything. Oh, be okay with being uncomfortable 90% of the time. 90% sounds like a lot. It's horrible. But take that uncertainty as a sign that you're on the right path. Because you are up leveling instead of sitting still, right? This goes back to, you didn't start this because you just wanted to add something more to your plate. You saw a design for your life. You saw an opportunity to change. You saw an opportunity to do something more and potentially reap the benefits of it. And so you need to be okay with the uncomfortability that comes with up leveling your life as a whole. And again, that comes to losing friends, that comes to saying no to things, that comes to telling your ego to take a back seat because it's screaming at you that this isn't going to work. Like you have to be okay with being uncomfortable, not just in the, oh, I have to go live now, in the everyday moments, in the I gotta get up early, in the I gotta write a post and talk about something I'm not used to talking about, in the panic, the fear, the doubt, the uncertainty, everything that's gonna come up. Be okay with it. If you can just accept it in the moment and say, hey, I acknowledge you, but I'm gonna choose faith. Hey, I acknowledge you, but I'm gonna choose confidence right now, right? Like retrain your brain. And I say that so cavalierly, but like, my gosh, does it take time and power? So give yourself the grace to grow in that too. But find your tools, whether that's, you like the idea of just telling your ego to STFU, or, there's stuff that you can find anywhere. There's tools called like tapping. Some people put a rubber band on their wrist, and every time they have like that doubt or that ego, they flick it. And it just reminds them to like snap back. Risks are required for results. So your ego, again, your survival guide, risk adverse. Your higher self, bring it the fuck on, right? Your higher self, and you're in alignment when you're excited. Okay, you're in alignment with what you're looking for and what you're on the right path for because you're excited about it. You can feel that. You have that fire. You can be excited about risks too. Again, this goes back, spending money without knowing if you're going to get it back, right? Think about conferences, coaching sessions, like things that have the opportunity to help you grow instrumentally. Your ego is going to pop up and be like, maybe don't do that. Maybe don't do that, right? Risks are required for results. Invest in yourself and do what you need to do. To make sure that you're growing in your best potential. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. And that's a big thing too. Like, work on your money mindset if that's a limiting belief for you. I'm just speaking to what I know. You guys, like, I have other limiting beliefs too, but that's a big one for me. So definitely do that. And then, like, the obvious risk, right? People not liking you. Hello, there are 7 billion people on this earth, okay? For every one person that doesn't like you, I'm sure there are 100,000 that are good with you. It's fine. It's fine. Just let it go. And that's coming from a recovering people pleaser. Trust me, I've had my moments. Opposition brings growth. Again, it's welcoming those surprises. Life is honestly a surprise when you're not in control, but every opposition that shows up, every failure, everything that could go wrong, welcome it in instead of trying to fight it, instead of trying to change the result, instead of trying to change what is happening. Just welcome it in. Failure is going to happen, but you can't grow if nothing changes and you're not learning new things. Welcome every growth as an opportunity instead, and say, hey, thanks, that was a good lesson. And just keep moving, keep moving. Sometimes that growth is in your faith, right? Sometimes the opposition is fear. Sometimes the opposition is doubt, and that's an opportunity to grow your faith. That is an opportunity to say, hey, thanks for reminding me that you got my back. Tiny lessons, big miracles. Celebrate them. Okay. And then the last thing, you will succeed as long as you're persistent and consistent with your desires to succeed. God, the universe, whatever you believe in, didn't give you a desire for funsies, guys. There's not like some chemistry set up there where he's just like, I'm going to make her want this in her life, but she's never going to get it. Like, no, you have that desire for a reason. You're here for a reason. You said yes for a reason. And you got to remember that feeling when you're in your low days. You have to remember that you were once so freaking excited and you had a desire to help people and to want more for your life and for your family. And by golly, like, just stay the freaking path and I bet you'll get it. If you have that desire alone, I honestly believe you have everything that you need in your life. Like, again, like, I do not believe that God is up there with chemistry set just like playing games with people. Like, no, like, if you have that desire, it's here for a reason. And you gotta trust that and you gotta believe in it. And if you don't believe in it, baby, if you got one leg to stand on and it's this business and you feel like you're about to fall, ask for a crutch. Like, we got a tribe. Don't be out here like you're alone. Like, lean in, ask somebody for help, ask somebody for a pep talk, and keep going. Show up how you can and keep going. Celebrate your miracles every day. You're alive, you're breathing. That means you are capable of building something for yourself. Remember that. The part that I think is the hardest for all of us, right? There's no guarantee of the when, the where, or the how. But what we got is the what and the why. What do we want? And why do we want it? That's what we have. And that's what we got to remember every single day. Everything else, out of our control. Give it up to God. I'm good. I ain't going to worry about it. If you need a little God box, they're like little cute boxes you can get, put a piece of paper, and you just write down what you want, and then you put it in the box. You put it away. Give it to God. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I'm going to say that's it. Okay. Hi. Questions? No? Bye? Okay.
You're good. That was awesome. All right. I will be saving the recording and I will share this on the team chat. Night, guys.
Night, guys.
Kayla was amazing. Oh my gosh. It was fantastic.